Welcome back to Daydreamers Club podcast. Today we are here with Jenna Griffiths. She is the owner of Later Gator Coffee here in Austin, Texas. And I just want to say this coffee is phenomenal.
Thank you.
I am so obsessed with it. Share a little bit about Later Gator, like your locations and all of that, and give us a gist of what it is.
So Later Gator was started a year ago now, so we're about to celebrate our first birthday. It's gone by so fast, but also so much has happened. But it is a business I started in honor of my grandma who passed away last February, Betty Sue. And she was more than my grandma. She was like my mom. She actually lived with us basically my entire life.
Wow.
She got divorced when I was really, really little, and just was always there. And granted, I don't necessarily advocate for my mother's mother and my father's mother-in-law to live with them their entire marriage, basically.
Wow.
It can create some dysfunction. But despite all of that, she was like my best friend.
Aww.
And we had a very special relationship. Not that she didn't with my other siblings, but
You're like, I was the favorite.
I mean, low key, but high key.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it was one of those losses. First of all, it was my first time experiencing a loss.
Yeah.
That big, and actual grief. And we all knew that when she passed, it would be just devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was kind of the glue of our family, so we knew it would kind of make everything feel like it's falling apart. Or at least, that is how we felt. And I don't think that actually happened, but it did have the impact that we were expecting, if not more. And you cannot prepare for loss. That is something I figured out. We were always, and when I say we, I mean me and my siblings, and my mom. We were always talking about how awful it would be. And it was almost in an effort to prepare ourselves.
Yeah. You were like, okay, like I know that this is coming, this is going to be happening. And then when it actually happens, it's like, oh, there's nothing you can do to prepare for it.
No, there's not. And I think like anyone who has anxiety probably knows this feeling. And if you have dogs, you think about like, oh gosh, that day's gonna be so hard.
Oh my God. I just immediately start crying.
And like that's valid because it's incredibly sad and awful to think about. I used to think about it in order to like prepare myself for how it would feel.
Yeah. You were like, it's going to be fine because I've thought about everything. Yeah. Like, I can handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you're like, no. So did Betty Sue, did she love coffee? Was that like a thing? Or was it like something that you had been wanting to do? Like, what was the inspiration behind everything?
So one thing that we did very often was we would sit and drink coffee together in the morning.
Cry. So sweet.
And I grew up drinking coffee, essentially. She used to make me what is called in the South, and I think other parts of the U.S., coffee milk. I've heard that it is something in, I think, the Northeast as well, but it's different.
Yeah.
So coffee milk, at least in the South, in Louisiana, was really just what it sounds like. You get a little bit of coffee that your grandma or whoever had made in the morning, and they put, mostly like milk or cream and sugar in it so that you get a little taste of the coffee, but you're not getting a full cup of coffee because you are a child.
The kids, yes.
It's a flavor, right? And which is one of my most, like, almost, well, I would hesitate to say vivid. It was more like a little, like, flashbulb memory of me laying on the couch in the morning when I was really little. I think it was before I started kindergarten, and my grandma would watch me. Side note, they tried to put me in pre-K, but I would like cry every day.
You're like, no.
I would like run along the fence crying, and my mom was like, I can't.
Oh, gosh.
So I was very, very lucky to have my grandma. She watched me at home, and, I got to watch cartoons and lay on the couch with my coffee milk. And I had a very specific sippy cup.
Mm-hmm.
It was blue, and it had a yellow lid. And I think it's still at my parents' house.
Oh, my gosh.
Which is crazy. But that was my favorite sippy cup, and she would make me my coffee milk, and I would drink it and watch cartoons. And growing up, I always drank coffee, and like whenever I moved out of my parents' house, I would text her every now and then and say, I'm going to come sit with you and drink coffee, next week or something. Like, I planned a lot of things around like going to see her and visit with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another important thing is that she moved to Texas with us. So I grew up in Louisiana, in like West Central Louisiana is what I tell people. Because I grew up in a town that no one has ever heard of unless you're from there. Maybe you've heard of it, but there was nothing there.
Yeah. What town?
Okay, so...
Yeah, I'm like, okay, now I have to know. I probably have not heard of it, but I'll pretend.
So it was kind of two different towns that I spent my childhood in. One was Leesville and one was Anacoco. And Leesville, its nickname is Sleesville.
Oh.
Kind of aptly named, no shade, if anyone I know still lives there and is watching this, but I mean, it was not where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like the older I got. Now, I had a great childhood. I loved growing up in Louisiana.
Oh, I love that.
We spent a lot of time outside.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, so I did not grow up close to New Orleans, but despite that, we still had the food and we had the culture of Louisiana. But I went to school in Anacoco, and when I talk about where I grew up and spent most of my time, I reference Anacoco, and it's one of those towns that's like, you got one, maybe two stoplights. You got a couple gas stations.
It's the small town. We got a few of those in Texas.
Oh yeah, plenty. And you'll kind of get this then. We did have a Dollar General.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's the spot. For us, it was like Walmart.
Oh yeah. So Walmart was in Leesville. So, I lived in Anacoco for most of my time there. And so we had to go to Leesville to go to Walmart, or literally like anything, any place to eat. You were going into town.
Yeah.
Okay. And then to go to the dentist, the doctor, the mall, anywhere relatively fun or cool, you had to go to Alexandria. When people come to Later Gator and they ask me where I grew up in Louisiana, I'll either say like West Central, or I was born in Alexandria, or Ellick.
Yeah.
And, it's like, if you know, you know, but usually, because if you look at a map of Louisiana, you'll see Alexandria on there, and like usually people
will know.
Yeah.
So when you first started it, what were you doing before owning a coffee shop? Because first of all, that's like every girl's dream. Opening a coffee trailer? I'm like, okay, so you're living the dream. That's like a pipe dream of mine one day, but I just like in my head, I'm like, will it be a venture I go down? Probably not. So I'll just live through you on this one.
I'm okay with that.
It's a lot of work, I think. Oh, girl. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I want to talk about that. But anyways, coffee, what was my question?
What was I doing before?
Yeah, what were you doing before?
This? I was working for a software company, and it was a really interesting and cool company. It was for pet sitting software.
Oh.
And I didn't have any experience in like the pet sitting industry. I didn't even know how big the industry was when I got the job, but basically I was helping to onboard new customers to this platform. And the platform was like, basically, you decide to start a pet sitting business and you need something to schedule and bill your clients. You need a database, you need a scheduler. And it was for small business owners who didn't want to continue going through things like Rover, or they wanted their own LLC and to stop paying the fees to those bigger companies and just be their own boss. And I got to talk to a lot, hundreds, thousands probably, of small business owners. I was there almost 6 years.
Wow.
And I was there so long because I genuinely loved that job. I loved the people I worked with, and it was a really, really small company. When I joined, it I went to a WeWork downtown,
Hmm.
and I met with these three guys, and we hit it off. It was so fun. Like, they made the interview really comfortable, and I just knew that it was somewhere I wanted to work at. And yeah, it was that way for basically the whole time, up until my grandma passed.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I talk about grief so much, is because I did not expect her passing to impact literally every facet of my life,
Hmm.
and even make things like the job that I have for so long feel like something that I just didn't know I wanted to do anymore.
Wow.
And, relationships I had, and like, I did not feel like the same person. And I'm not.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think,
sure it put a lot in perspective for you. Like,
yeah,
oh, is this
100%.
what I want from life? Or is this, yeah. Oh, I genuinely can't imagine
Yeah.
that. I'm very close with my grandma. Like, she practically raised me too. I don't see her as much as I would love to, but like I could only like I'm like I don't want
Yeah.
to cry, but yeah, I'm like, wow, I can't imagine like that feeling.
And I think that it's such a gift. Like, that's another thing that I felt so strongly, is like, you feel like anxiety, you feel like this dread of like, I love this person or animal so much that losing them is gonna feel like just like the
Yeah.
worst thing in the world. And it's not that it doesn't feel that way, but it's like that, very corny saying, like, it's better to have loved than lost.
Yeah.
Loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And
Yeah.
it's true, because if you don't have that kind of love in your life, I don't know, it feels maybe a little bit empty.
Yeah.
I feel so lucky that I had her.
Hmm.
And, yeah, like, and when you lose someone, people say like, oh, she's still with you, or they're still, yes, in your memory,
Yeah.
and
It's not like you can call her up and be like, "Hey,
yeah,
come check out my coffee trailer."
exactly.
Did you have like plans of opening it before she passed, or was it like after kind of everything shifted for you?
It was after everything shifted. So I, started to feel like, well, I mean, the heaviness was there before she passed. Like, it was a lot of anticipatory grief because she was in hospice for a little bit, and so that like tug, that feeling of like, I need to do something different.
Hmm.
I need to do something big that I've never done before, that I didn't ever think I could do. That tug came, like, I say tug because it's like, it was like, hey, like
Yeah.
something grabbed me by the shirt and was like,
Yeah.
hey, like, there's something you need to like pay
Yeah.
attention to.
Oh my God, I want to cry. I don't like I'm very like are you woo woo at all? Are
Yeah.
you okay, I'm like are you is that I feel like
For sure.
I feel like I am. I fucking am. Be so for real. And I feel like you're
Mm,
saying that I'm like I just imagine your grandma being like hello like
yeah.
I'm like oh
Yeah.
and it's like I can like feel it. I'm like oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny though, because like, I did, like, in a very loving way, not in like a sad way at all, but I used to tell people, like, especially when I started and things were so stressful, that like my grandma probably would have been like, why are you putting yourself through all this? Like,
No,
you're so
literally.
stressed,
She
like,
probably like
yeah, like,
this.
you're so tired, like, because she would, I have a lot of like chronic illness stuff, and so
Mm.
we talk about that, and she would always like, oh, you do too much, whatever. So yeah, like, that did not come until, like, gosh, so we lost her in February of last year. It was probably the end of March.
Hmm.
And I was talking to my partner. My partner works from home, and he's worked at a tech company for 5 years now. And like, he he's a lot more introverted. And I kept he has a lot of hobbies. He has ADHD. He has a lot.
Same, brother.
He has a lot of hobbies, and he's so good at making things. He's very creative. I think that he just his ADHD can kind of like dampen that sometimes.
Yeah.
But when he gets his little spurts of motivation, like he is very talented with like, building things, putting things together. He has a 3D printer.
Tell him to print me some Labubu's.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. You could do like little
Labubu coffee cup. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm gonna see. There's like a whole
Sell
licensing
'em.
thing about that.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm like, sell them.
Yeah, no, and people make a lot of money doing that. But even like just like tools, like he made me a lot of things for the business. Like when I started, like if you ever go up to Later Gator, our little like straw container, he printed that. There's just all kinds of little doodads that are actually really helpful. He does rug tufting
Oh,
to make rugs.
okay, so he does have he has all the cool hobbies.
Yeah, and like he is so cool, and like, sometimes I feel like he maybe doesn't feel that way, but he is. And he has all these talents and things. I'm like, we should start a business.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be something. Like, you're good at so many things. There's got to be something that we could like turn into something together. Like, and we're just like, it was just like very casual conversation. But I started to feel something, and that is when I was like, wait a minute. And I think I should also say, I have never before doing this felt any sort of entrepreneur.
Yeah, that was gonna be another question. It's like, did you know, like, when you were younger that, yeah,
no.
you were like, oh,
No.
no, you're like, I was a 9 to 5 girly. I feel like some people like,
Girl, I don't
prefer
even
it.
know what I was, because I actually in high school I was in a photography class,
love it.
and I did photography for like a little bit.
Yeah.
After I graduated, I was like helping my old photography teacher with his business, and I was like, I'm gonna go to school for photography.
Yeah.
I went to Texas State for one semester, and I had to take art classes.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's art, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool, art. Yeah, I love art. It's fun. I did not realize that I was gonna have to go to an 8 a.m. drawing class.
Absolutely not.
Girl, I cannot draw to save my freaking life.
Same. I swear, I feel like any form of creative, at some point they tell me, I was also a photographer. And I'm like, oh, you were?
Yeah,
They're like,
say.
yeah. I'm like, of course. No, but also like photography school, it's like, like,
Yeah.
like, especially nowadays, maybe back in the day,
Right,
but like, there's so
right.
much information. But yeah, no, there's no way I would have survived that either. I'm the same. Like,
Yeah, I think it was, and gosh, okay, that was 2012. So, it's like, I think we were definitely still living in this world of like, you absolutely need a degree. You need a degree in what you want
Yeah.
to do. And I was, now, my mom like was not happy that I wanted to do that. Not at all. She was like
yeah.
side-eyeing me the whole time. But, she like helped me do that. And then when very, very short little anecdote, I had a drawing assignment for that class, and it was like some sort of ink thing where we had to trace a design, and then we had to color it in an ink with an ink pen. And I spent so much money on art supplies for this freaking class.
like this damn 8 a.m. class.
Oh my God. I cannot believe how much I had to buy. And then I like made a few mistakes on this big drawing I was doing. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. And I ended up like spilling the ink somewhere where like it was not supposed to go, but I had already spent so much time on it.
Yeah.
And I just had a meltdown, and I called my mom and was like, Mom, I want to drop this class. I can't do this. And she's like,
okay, good.
She's like, yeah, thank God.
Did you end up getting any other degree, or were you just like...
I did. So once I decided, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm actually going to go back home and going to go back to ACC. I decided to go to school for psychology.
Oh, nice.
I feel like that's also maybe like...
A lot of people do that.
You could tell. Like,
but I think it's cool. Like, I don't know. It's a unique thing.
Yeah, I really thought I was going to be a therapist or some sort of counselor. I got my associates from ACC, and then I went and got a bachelor's of arts in psychology. And like I said, I really thought I was going to be a counselor. Um, I was like an intern at a counseling center, and I did admin there. And that was a lot of fun, but mostly because I was friends with the counselors. And so we kind of just sat and like gossiped and
Yeah.
not about clients. But.
You're like, oh yeah. You're like, wow, working is easy. This is fun.
I saw how burnt out they were. And at that time, I also had applied to grad school for social work.
That's hard.
And then once again, I think like there was some sort of little universal tug that was like, do you really want to do that? Because I saw how burnt out the counselors were. And like I knew social work was a lot of hard, emotional work. And I was at a time in my life, I had actually just started therapy myself. Now I was at a time in my life where I was really emotionally fragile. I had a lot, and I didn't even know at the time, but I had a lot I needed to work through and work on for myself. But I did have the foresight to know that like it would be really, really, really hard on me. I'd be really burnt out, and I would not be paid very much.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you listened to yourself, though, because I feel like sometimes people will be like, oh, well, I have to go through with this or whatever. And I think, a big part of even what I like talking about in this podcast, it's like, it's okay to pivot at any time. Like at any point, like if you feel a gut feeling, if you're like, oh, maybe I should be doing this or this. And so I'm glad that you like listen to yourself because now I can enjoy your delicious coffee. But okay, so you
I love that, yeah,
you were going to go to
pivoting.
photography school. You were going to be a social worker. You ended up working at the pet sitting company. And then you were like, I have to start a business. You're like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Somewhere in there, I did work at Stitch Fix too.
Okay. Yes.
And just did like customer support. That was a fun job too. But that was my little like bridge into like tech. But I've done customer service like, basically this entire time. It's all customer service. Now my barista experience.
Yeah.
So I think now kind of, and I'm trying to bring it back to when I decided I wanted to do this. So I would always kind of joke that if I could do anything and money was not that big of a deal, I would just be a barista. Like I would.
That's my favorite question to ask people, like who don't really know what they're doing with their life. I'm like, okay, so if money was not an object, you didn't have to worry about it, what would you be doing?
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm like, go for it.
I think a lot of people, at least a lot of like younger women, like that's their answer to that question.
I told you, you're living every 20-something-year-old's dream right now.
Yeah. That or like you own a bookstore or something.
Yes, yeah. Coffee shop and bookstore.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
In together.
Yeah. So, because I was always like there, I always had this little thought of like, oh, if I could do anything, I would just be a barista. The kind of transition from the conversation with my partner about like, oh, we should start a business. He was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. But he didn't have this feeling like I did, and he hadn't just experienced this loss like I had. So like, he wasn't there mentally.
Ideas.
But basically he's like, well, I made the comment again. I was like, oh yeah, I would just work in a coffee shop. And he goes, why don't you just start your own?
You're like,
and I was like,
bet.
Well, actually, at first I was like, nah, I don't think, no. But then I could not sleep. And I don't know if people believe this. I mean, it's true. But immediately, the drinks, the name, the vibe, everything came to me.
Oh my gosh.
Like, not like literally all at once in a moment. But
yeah, you're like, oh, I see my entire menu.
Yeah, I'm not like that's so Raven.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a vision.
Yeah, but like I remember, I don't know if it was that night specifically, but somewhere around there, I couldn't sleep and I was on my notes app on my phone and I started writing out the drink ideas and like I don't know, I had all of that in my head. And I started jotting it down and thinking about it and ruminating on it. And I was like, now I literally have to do this.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, I have no other option because now I want to do this.
yeah, because I got so excited so fast. And, I thought of the name and I knew because if I was going to do something like this, if I was going to start a business, something that I never thought I would want to do, be good at, have the ability, like the resources to do, then it would have to be something really, really important to me, really meaningful, something that the community would care about and like other people would care about.
Yeah.
I care about it and they see that.
Exactly.
So it had to be about my grandma. It had to be about Louisiana.
Yeah.
It had to be tied to her. And that was my biggest way of coping with her loss. As soon as I started to plan things, the grief was still there. The sadness was still there. But I felt happy again and I felt excited.
Yeah.
And, it's not like it was a really long time between her passing and this happening where like I was super depressed, but it was enough time where I felt the shift dramatically in my life and me. And I felt like not only did I like come back to myself, but I became something else.
Yeah.
Something
Like a different version of, who you've been.
I stepped into like this new Jenna that was like, okay, girl, like we're doing this.
We're
like,
gonna
are
make
you ready?
it worth it. Yeah. And so it's so crazy that you never were like, I'm gonna own a business, and then it's like, you know what? I'm gonna open a coffee shop. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. That is wild. And so you're going on 1 year. You just opened a second trailer too, which is incredible. I also have to tell everyone the story of how I found you, which was via Uber Eats.
Oh my gosh.
Which is so funny because I am known amongst my friends. Like, there's even another episode where my friend is like, Drew is a coffee snob, if y'all don't know. But the thing is, I have credentials for it. I used to be a barista. I don't fuck with Starbucks. I do not like Starbucks. I've never liked them. I've been a hater since, I don't know, day one of Starbucks. But anyways, anytime I'll be like, oh, I don't like this place, but I like this place. People always agree with me. So anyways, I'm a coffee connoisseur, if you will.
Yeah.
I think I had like a huge shoot one night, and like the next day I woke up and I was out of coffee. I was like, I need coffee. I live Southeast Austin. There's like no fucking coffee shops over here other than Meanwhile, which they're not known for coffee.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Radio, I'll be honest, people love.
Meanwhile and radio are very similar.
I also like, everyone's like, radio has the best coffee. I'm like, they literally don't. Like, I don't want to shit talk them because I appreciate radio and like their essence,
the vibes,
the vibes of it. But like, obviously, you're not gonna say anything, but I'll say it. I don't think they have good coffee.
To be honest with you, I've not had it. So.
Oh, don't. It's so watery. It's just, I don't know. I have my I have my opinions. I just don't love it. Whatever. So then I was like, okay, I have like nothing near me. Let me see where I can get copied. And it said Later Gator, and I was like, why is it saying it's like 2 miles from me? Like, what is this place? And then I ordered it. And 2 days before, my friend Aoife, she was telling me about a banana latte she had made or had or something. Yeah. And I saw in there like banana. And I was like, okay, like we're going to try it. I think I even got myself like an extra oat milk just in case I didn't like the banana latte. Because I was like, I need coffee and it better be good. When I tell you, I recorded the video like as I took the sip. I was like, this is one of the best lattes I have had in so long, because Austin has a lot of coffee shops, but they don't have like a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of the time I feel like they become the same, or they don't really put the care and thought into the coffee. And then it's just like whatever.
Yeah.
Again, I have a lot of opinions on Austin coffee.
I love them.
And also like the extra step where you like wrote on the coffee cup. That is what made me fall in love with coffee when I was younger, was like going into a coffee shop and the baristas being so nice and making friends with them and like having that sense of community. And like here, there's so many places people are so freaking pretentious. So like seeing that on my cup, I'm like, it's like 8 a.m. I'm recording this TikTok. I'm like, this is the best latte I've had in so long. And then like I have had multiple people be like, oh my God, that's my new favorite coffee shop, because I posted that video and I'm like, it's so good. Darlene, I don't know if you know her, Yeah,
Love her.
she was like, thanks to you, she used to live over
Oh,
here too. And I was
yes.
like, I got you, girl.
Yes.
But yeah, so that is how I found out about Later Gator, and now I'm a big fan. Still order it on Uber Eats because I'm too lazy to drive.
Valid. Well, yeah, I remember watching that video you made and like probably crying because it was probably one of the first times I had someone like film a sort of reaction to it and like post about it, and it made me it truly, it was one of those moments where I was like, oh my God, like
You're like, I'm
I'm
doing
doing
it.
it. Yes.
What is that? Like not the butterfly effect, I guess in a way maybe.
Sure.
I don't think that's the right example, but
it's
like
some
the
sort
like
of universal
domino of like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
like it's so crazy that like, not to be like, it's so crazy I posted that video, but like it's crazy that
Literally.
maybe in that moment you needed it or whatever, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, like, no. Okay. So, and I didn't. I missed telling you about this. My barista experience. So, I was a barista for like 6 months.
Oh, I thought you were
I
going to say
know.
6 years.
No, dude. It was like 6 months when I was in school. And I worked at the Barnes and Noble cafe. Okay,
Love
so
it.
we served
Yeah.
Starbucks, but very important to note,
They are separate though.
they are separate, and you cannot use Starbucks cards or Starbucks
So
gift cards there.
interesting.
So during the holidays, I did work a few holiday rushes, and that was,
Always the thing.
um, but I actually don't remember a ton of customer interactions there. I know that there were not good ones, but what I do remember is how fun it was. I remember my coworkers being so fun, and like I'm still in touch with several of them. Um, and like it just being such a fun little job that I'm saying little, it was hard work.
Yeah. No, the baristas do not get paid enough,
No,
especially the Starbucks ones.
no. I pay my girls well
Oh yeah.
because I know, like I said, I've got some chronic illness stuff, and like I cannot be on my feet that long. Like I can't like lift a lot of things without it really like impacting my body. And I just like I know how much of a toll it can take on your body.
Yeah.
That and like any other service industry job, but like yeah, I agree. And for that short time, it was fun. It was hard. I remember coming home like 11:30, like because I'd close and I'd have class the next day, and I'd come home and do homework, and I'd be like soaked in water from doing the dishes, smelling like coffee.
Yes.
But I was having fun, and I just always look back so fondly on that. And that's why I would always say like I would be a barista because it was just so fun. And like I don't think I realized at the time either that it was fun. It was fun because of the people and the connections and because of the coffee. And I do think like another thing that is important to talk about with like coffee businesses, and like anyone out there who feels like maybe they want to start their own coffee business, you do not have to know everything about coffee. And in fact, your love for coffee is the most important thing
Yes.
alongside your love for people.
Yeah. It's definitely like it's a people business.
It
You
is.
know, like obviously it's coffee. It's a way to connect people.
It is. Coffee is connection. And like, if you have that already inside of you, then everything else you can learn.
Yeah.
And you can even teach yourself a lot about coffee and making coffee. Another thing that I did, so, I had that experience that was 10 years ago. So knowing that I was going to do this, part of my preparation was I went and got a part-time barista job.
Oh, I love that.
And I was still working at the pet sitting company.
Yeah.
I had not told them yet my plans. I had to like, and it wasn't because it was only because I was not 100% sure that this was going to happen. But I was trying to figure out if I could do it, and trying to make it happen. So, eventually I did put in my notice, and I gave them like it's like 3-4 weeks. But before that, I was working at a local shop. I worked at Malone Coffee.
Oh yeah.
And I I don't know how many shifts I had there. The owners are great. They're just like a lovely couple, and like the baristas I worked with were all really young, and it was so funny. It made me feel really old. Um, I went in there my very first shift. I walked in and there were these two super young guys, and like come to find out they were like barely out of high school. And it's like 6 a.m. and they're looking at me and I'm like, hey, I'm here for my first shift. And they're like, cool. I'm like,
You're like,
are you
okay.
guys, who's training me? And they're like, I guess us. I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
oh God. I would feel so awkward.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Let's go. Like, I'm gonna watch everything you do.
You're like, I'm here so I can start my own business, but you know.
Yeah, and that was a weird thing too. Like, I not because I felt like I don't know. I don't necessarily think that I needed to keep it from people.
Yeah.
Looking back, I'm like, I could have told people about it, and I don't think that they would have reacted negatively, but I did have that anxiety.
Yeah.
So that is why I didn't tell people, like, and even when I was like looking for like a barista gig, I didn't tell people that because I didn't want them to like think that I was there to like steal their secrets or like,
Right.
I have this anxiety that I think like was maybe just me. I think that, I mean, I know now there are a lot of business owners here, coffee business owners, and even others that are so kind and supportive of new business owners.
I love that.
And I'm sure there are some that aren't. The interactions I've had have been good. And I think that not knowing anything about business or what business owners here are like really, other than being a customer, I was just worried about telling people my plans.
Well, I think also too, like I very much follow under like the notion of like I do not tell anyone any of the stuff I'm doing unless I'm like 100%.
Right.
Because I don't want to be like I'm gonna do this and this and this and then like I never follow through on anything. Because I used to be that way. Because I also have ADHD, so I'm like I'm gonna pick up this and then I'm gonna do this. You know how many times like I have like services I'm starting to do and then I never freaking do it because it's like it doesn't feel aligned with me. So I get that. I think it's okay like not telling everyone, your thing. And you also were at a point where you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna like I need to figure out my plan and then it can come forward. So for being your first year in business, is there any like, I don't know, piece of advice or like for you, are you like, wow, I was not expecting this to happen this year? Like, what was this first year like for you?
It was the hardest year of my life.
Yeah.
The hardest, most stressful, and
She said, so let me open a second one.
yeah, exactly. I saw a meme yesterday that was like, God forbid a fire sign thrive in chaos. I'm like,
Wait, what's your sign?
Leo.
Oh, okay. What's your rising? Do you know in your moon?
Scorpio.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So,
And then a Libra moon. So,
cute.
and that's the people lover.
and like the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cutesy. Yeah, yeah. So, hardest year, and like having a business, starting a business, all of the things that come with that are extremely hard and just exhausting. But the grief being, the thing that was like driving it, I think two things happened. One was that it's what pushed me through it because I knew my why. I knew like, okay, this is why I started this. This is why I'm going to continue to do this. But I there were so many moments, mostly like last year. So I will say things got infinitely better, like, honestly, like in the new year this year. So let's say from like July when I opened last year to December, I had so many moments where I felt like I can't do this, like, and it's too much.
Was that like because of like the business side of things or just like the grief mixed with everything or?
I think so. So the grief was like this thing hanging over me all the time, and that made everything else that was happening, every stressful event, every like moment where I was like, you know, am I going to be able to sustain this? Like, do people even like what I'm doing? Things like that. It was all exacerbated by that grief. Anytime, sometimes this still happens, but anytime something stressful would happen to me, where normally prior to losing my grandma, I would, you know, like react to that stressor and like, you know, have whatever reaction. And then it, like after losing her, it was like anything could happen. And immediately my brain was like, also your grandma's gone.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it made everything.
So it's so much worse.
It was like I was like trotting through mud. Like I was just like going through something difficult, starting a business. Everyone knows that it's not easy, but I had this other thing that was like making it just feel impossible sometimes.
It's like, oh, this sucks, but also your grandma's gone too, so it even sucks more.
All the time
Yeah.
that was happening. And so I just would like have so many moments where I felt like I'd had enough. I'd had enough of like being that stressed and overwhelmed because I was dealing with this other thing. And my partner, Ethan, he saved me so many times from those like dark moments. Because it got really dark. It did.
Shout out to Ethan.
Yeah. Like he pulled me out of so many, and he told me constantly that I could do it. And like, you know, he was my cheerleader and still is, but he really, really motivated me to just keep going. Because he saw that I was doing it. Like and I don't think, so if he had any doubts, it wasn't because of me. It was because of just like, you know, will it be successful? Because XYZ, like we're in Austin, there's a lot of coffee places. Do people want like sweeter coffee? Like, do they?
Yes, they do.
Do they? Yeah, I
yes,
know,
they
right?
do. Also, I'm like, I feel like there aren't a lot of coffee places, which is like, from the consumer point of view, maybe because I've just been to so many and I don't like half of them, but I'm like, oh, we need more coffee.
Yeah, no,
I got business ideas.
I think there are a lot of coffee places here that are the same. Like I think they're, and I think, you know, it's a lot of like, what do people in Austin like? And a lot of businesses like will copy each other because they see a trend. They see like, you know, the same aesthetic everywhere.
Everyone doing matcha right now.
Everyone doing matcha, yeah. And everyone kind of does the same stuff because like it is popular and it does sell. It does do well. And that is part of business. But like I knew that Later Gator had to be something like authentic to me. And I also, so, you know, part of the like anxiety of like, is this going to work is like, will people like the things that I like? And I did know, okay, first of all, people love pink. Like everyone loves pink. You know, you see pink. Exactly.
Yes, we do.
It makes you happy.
I could almost see like the anxiety being like increased more because it's like you're not just putting out a coffee trailer. Like you are your coffee trailer. So it's like I'm about to show myself and be really vulnerable. And if no one likes it, that means no one likes me. And so you're like, oh shit.
And girl, that is the biggest thing I've worked on in therapy for years and still like do work on that is this feeling of like
you gotta embrace the Leo. Yeah. I'm like, you gotta I'm like, what are we talking about?
It's like my shadow self. My shadow self is like, Jenna, people are like looking at you like, what is she doing? Like everyone thinks you are whatever my little ugly shadow says. And
I'm like, I don't think you can't even say nothing because no one's saying nothing.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just something I grew up with, and like I like to tell this little anecdote too because it's applicable. I was in like 5th or 6th grade, and we had a day. It was one of those like, you know, you had your school days where it was like wear crazy socks or crazy hair or whatever. And I think it was one of those days. Maybe it was like wear your favorite color, and I wore head to toe pink. And I remember I had this fuzzy pink bucket hat.
Oh, I love that.
I wish I still had it.
I know, I was about to say, you should have worn it.
Like, it was so freaking cute. I felt so cute, okay? I felt so, like, happy wearing that outfit. And then like some kids were like, laughing, whispering like, she's wearing a lot of pink. Like, I don't know what they said, so long ago. But I do remember the feeling of that, like, someone's looking at me like, girl. And
You're like, this is the origin of my trauma.
one of them, yeah. What I realized though, and, I still have to remind myself, is like, okay, I'm going to sound crazy, but I want to bring this back to Labubu's.
Oh, I love it.
Because I was thinking about this. I was like, Labubus are so fun. I'm like, why do I think they're cool? And it's because I love that adults are embracing like toys and
Yes.
like
Their inner child.
carrying them around, like something like you would want to do when you're little. I love stuffed animals. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Build-A-Bear? Sign me up.
oh, Build-A-Bear. God, yes.
I still want to go get Build-A-Bear.
I know. They come out with good ones. But I just love that, like, as adults, we are learning that, like, people might side-eye us. Like, there are plenty of people I've seen, as much as there's people that love Labubu, there are people that are like, why are y'all spending money on toys? Like, why do you care? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think, some people, yeah, that is literally how they feel. A lot of people that, talk shit about things that people enjoy are totally projecting, and they totally
100%.
wish or want to do those things.
Yes. Yeah. That is like a thing, is like, one, be who you are. Two, I don't think a business will succeed if you are not being authentic to yourself. And like the fact that you can follow a passion, or that you did follow your passion, and you're like, I might have so much anxiety, but this is who I am. I'm going to show up as myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is literally what will allow you to succeed, because the thing is you aren't like anyone else. And people see that and they're like, oh, it's not another, I'm not going to name a name of a coffee shop, but it's not another one of those. Mia. This is just episode about me shit talking all the coffees in Austin.
I love it. I mean, yeah.
But yeah.
I agree 100%. Like, I will counter that by saying I think it's either you have a shit ton of money and investors and like daddy's money, whatever, and you can like throw it at anything and it can succeed because of money. Unfortunately, money can do a lot of things. Yeah. Or you build it yourself, but you are very authentic and you love it, so other people love it, and that breeds success.
Exactly.
That is something I think going all the way back to your question, like that is something I learned like this past year is like you do need money. You do need money, but you don't have to have like, this wealth or like this huge like amount of money to start something. You have to have your vision, your authenticity. You have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You have to be. And you have to like care about it enough to see it through. And then, if like, I think it's important, like, I don't think that anyone should just like go and start like a coffee business, just like,
just because they
randomly think it through. You do like it's something that like, a lot of people want to do. You have to know that like you're going to have a lot of meltdowns. You're going to feel like probably more stressed than you've ever been, and it's going to be scary.
Yeah.
It's going to be
you're
really
running
scary.
a business. I think that's the thing, is like a lot of times with like what do they call them? Pink collar jobs, where it's like the more fun, girly things. I wouldn't say coffee. I would say coffee is pink collar, but because it is,
cute,
honestly,
it's pink.
yeah, it's like more labor intensive. But like people with photography, they're like, it must be nice, and I'm like, no, I literally run it like a business. Like I pay my taxes. Like there's so much that goes.
Taxes.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say when someone's like, should I start? Nope, taxes.
Nope. Yeah, taxes. Quarterly taxes. God, they kill me every time.
God, that's today.
Is it?
Not me emailing my like accounting person. Hey,
so much.
How much do I owe?
No, there's so much that goes into business that people just don't realize because they see it as like, oh my God, I want to like serve coffee and be a cutie girl
Yeah.
or whatever.
I don't serve coffee anymore, y'all.
Yeah, you're like I'm a business owner.
When people see me back there making coffee, they're like surprised. I'm like,
They're like, what are you doing here?
yeah, like, Jenna, you're in the trailer? Like,
You're like, yeah,
yeah.
I'm actually working today.
Yeah.
One more time and then.
Having so much fun.
After you open your coffee shop, it's been a year, you've learned a lot, still kind of going through the grief. And then what made you decide to open the second one? Was it just like being busy or like, oh shit, we're just gonna go for it?
It was another serendipitous moment.
Yes.
So another thing I've learned, I think I should talk about is like this idea that like when you have a business like Justin Bieber shit, like never say never. Like, like every time I think that I hear Justin Bieber in my head. But yeah, never say never. Like I would say constantly, like, I'm not gonna have a second trailer. I'm not gonna have multiple trailers because having the trailer by myself, you know, with my partner helping me when he could, he has his own job, so like he can only do so much. But like, you know, I'm dealing with gray water. I'm dealing with electricity, you know, plumbing, like all these things that I did not grow up.
It should have been boy jobs.
It's all boy stuff. But no, really, like I feel like I have to say again, like my chronic illness stuff, so I have hypermobility spectrum disorder, which is a connective tissue disorder.
Yeah. My chiropractor thought I had it for a second because I got some weird chronic illness stuff too.
Yeah. I think COVID really fucked us all, but
Did you get it after COVID? Or was
it's one of those things that's been like kind of dormant my whole life where like, yes, I had symptoms, but it wasn't like debilitating until I got COVID. And then I got straight up like disabled. Yeah. I could not walk. I developed POTS. And
oh my gosh.
I had a, what's it called?
That's when you faint, right?
I didn't faint. It was dizziness, and then more so it was really bad heart palpitations. And it was this feeling of like if I was standing, I could not stand more than like literally like 30 seconds because I felt like this huge weight on me and like I couldn't breathe.
Oh my gosh.
And I just had to sit down. I like did a bunch of rehabilitation stuff. I saw a hypermobile aware chiropractor for a long time, and she helped me so much. And then I did like lymphatic massage. I did pelvic floor therapy because when you have a connective tissue disorder, you have a collagen deficiency. And collagen is like the glue that holds everything together inside of you. So an analogy I heard once was like, instead of having that glue, like this super glue, you have chewing gum.
Yeah.
And it's like everything's flopping around.
Yeah. Isn't it like also like you're more flexible or something?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're double jointed. I don't know if you want to see this. Like, most people get really freaked out.
Yeah, I don't.
And it's interesting because, you know, like every body is different. Like I'm not actually like super flexible where I can bend everything that way, but my elbows and my knees are, they can hyperextend quite a bit. And when you're really not supposed to do that. Like you're not supposed to show it off because when your body does that over and over again, like if you're walking or exercising or playing sports, then it leads to injuries and it just wears on your tissue, your fascia, and causes just a myriad of other problems. Like,
wow.
There's so many comorbidities with it.
Do you have ADHD?
Not that I know of.
Okay, I asked because when
I've not been diagnosed.
No, when I was seeing my chiropractor, she was saying like a lot of like females with ADHD
that is something
have hypermobility, and she was like doing some tests on me, and she was like, it kind of like came to the consensus. She was like, there's like a small chance you could have it. She was like, but I don't really think that you do. But it was mainly because like some of my like joints and stuff were like really freaking flexible.
Yeah.
But,
well, yeah.
I also have like weird symptoms, so.
Yeah. We can talk all about that, girl.
I'm like, this is not a medical podcast, but
I know way too much, and it's kind of bad because anytime someone starts talking about their symptoms, I'm like,
You're like, I know what that is.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like I I spent probably like a good year of that affecting my life so much that like it was kind of my whole life is that I had this chronic illness that had like disabled me.
Wow.
And I was just like living with it and like trying to embrace it and like learning about it. Once I got better, I don't know, like it was almost like it was like my identity for a while. And I don't think that that's necessarily like, it's not like a good or a bad thing, but it did help me to embrace it that way. Now, though, it is just like, it, it got a lot better, but I was still working from home. And when I started doing this business and doing like more like manual labor, I realized pretty quickly that like it was going to take a toll, and it has. Um, and like I'm not ashamed of it. I have to be honest, like I do have times where like I feel like not as capable of things,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't feel very good. Like, I don't ever like the little shadow person in me is like, people think you're lazy if you don't want to like pick something up or whatever. But literally, like if I lift something heavy, it's gonna like make a pretty big impact.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all these little things that add up over time
Yeah.
and take a toll on you.
I
So
understand that.
I feel like I know my body enough now and what causes me to flare. Do I always listen? No. Literally, like sometimes I just like when I was doing everything myself before I could hire, um, I just had to do it,
Yeah.
Like I could ask Ethan for help sometimes, but like I was there every day by myself. I was lifting things, I was pumping my gray water and like whatever else. A lot of like bending down, like
Yeah.
just a lot of movements that everyone has to do every day. And then it just, yeah, like I was so exhausted. And
It's like owning a business and like running all of that is already hard, but adding in a
Mhm.
chronic illness on top of that, I can't imagine. And I also feel like with chronic illnesses, like I'm sure you felt that sense of like lazy or whatever, mainly because
Mhm.
people don't really validate them. And they like, it's not like you can see it. Like I wouldn't have known
Yeah,
because it's not like you can physically see it on
right.
you. And so it's like, oh, do you want me to like roll around in a wheelchair to prove it to you? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, so I could imagine that would be like even more difficult and like your inner shadow self being like, oh,
Yeah, I mean, people do like I have like so many canes because I was like, I'm gonna buy
that's
cute
kind of cool.
canes.
You kind of need one with like a little alligator on it.
Right?
I gotta find you that now.
Oh my
That
God,
would be so
yes.
cool.
I know, right? So, like, I'd be out with my cane, or like if we traveled, like Ethan would push me in a wheelchair sometimes. Like, I would get stares, I would get looks like, what's wrong with her? Like, she looks so young. Like, is she okay? Like, or if I would be around people I knew that hadn't seen me with it, they would ask me like what happened, and it's like I would feel like, oh my God, I have to go on this whole spiel now because I can't be like I had this injury or whatever. It's like this is my life now. Like
Yeah.
this is what I'm living with and dealing with. And I didn't always feel like that voice was always like it's this idea of like perception. Like you cannot control people's perceptions of you.
Hmm.
And that is a huge, huge lesson I've learned with this is like
Oh yeah.
people will have opinions. People will leave me reviews that make me sad. Like, um, someone left one last night that was like, I don't get the hype for this place. And I was like, well, I mean, and like,
That's hard.
it is
That's
hard.
hard.
It's because
It's,
I'm like, I want you to get it, but it's okay that you don't. But also, like,
but that's not your like dream customer at the same time. Like you don't
yeah.
want people who don't appreciate the ambiance and whatever
Yeah, and
to
like, I
go.
want people to,
Like be happy when they're there.
yeah, I want people to feel good about it. I want them to enjoy their drinks, but like the thing about drinks is they can always be remade. They can
Yeah.
always be refunded. Me and my baristas, we can always remake your drink. make you something that you actually like.
Yeah.
And we can try and
I think people are
get
so
there.
nervous, like, to
Oh
ask
yeah,
though, or be like, "Oh, it's too
for sure.
sweet," or I mean, I'm someone that I don't even like sweet coffee. Like, I am always oat milk latte.
Mhm.
I get my drink half sweet, and it's like
Mhm.
to me the perfect sweetness, but
Yep.
it's so good. Like,
Yeah.
I typically never do flavor, but I'm like the banana, everything. Um, but yeah, I could imagine that would be like really difficult.
It's hard
Like,
because like yeah,
you're like you don't have to get the hype.
I want people more than anything to understand
Hmm.
what we're doing and like you were saying earlier, it's like if someone leaves a bad review, it's like they don't like me. And that's not true. They don't know me.
Right,
They're
right.
leaving a review because they didn't like their drink.
Also, to be honest, if people are not going to Later Gator and like they don't see like the Louisiana influence and stuff, like, and they're gonna leave a review that says, "I don't understand the hype," like, then you just don't get it. Like, go get a little bit
Yeah.
more culture or something. Like, they're
Yeah.
probably in my head, maybe this is me just trying to make you feel better. I'm like, tech bro.
Tech bro.
That's like the first, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
you just don't get it, dude. Like,
It's our customer, like, if we're talking about, like, business terms, like, our demographic.
right.
But I mean, in my head, we're for everyone.
Yeah, I feel like it is, but like,
But
again,
you have to be okay with, like, embracing cute, pink, sweet, like, that is the thing I've realized, too, is, like, I I would have the worst imposter syndrome about like being in Austin and being in this coffee scene of like beige brown
the kind of
um
pretentious.
like sharp edges, like I don't know, you go in a coffee shop or like or even like the like softer like kind of bohemian vibes, like, but it all feels like very similar to me. I'm not saying that the coffee isn't good. I feel like there are a lot of coffee shops I haven't been to. Um, there aren't a lot that I don't like, but there aren't any really like Later Gator. And I knew I wanted to make something where it was like you can get the drink that you want and you can throw a bunch of shit in there. Like if that's what you want, we have it. And it's also good coffee. But
Right.
like,
It's not.
and I
Yes.
freaking love Greater Goods, and the people are amazing. Like, do really want people to like us. It's been hard to like kind of move away from this like feeling of like, everyone has to like us and everyone has to like, we aren't for everyone, but I do think that we are like doing something that people weren't getting yet here in
Right.
Austin.
I
Like,
agree with that. And I mean, the thing is I do, in a way, think you're for everyone if people like good coffee. Like, if it's someone going and they want just an oat milk latte, they can still get that and it's still good. Like, it's
yeah,
still like
that is something I
well
want.
done
Yeah.
latte. But I think there aren't a lot of places in Austin where it's like fully customizable, different flavors, different styles of, flavors if you want it more sweet or whatever, unless it's like a Starbucks. But again, the coffee's not
Yeah.
actually good. So,
Well, we're trying to have fun, and like, we had a guy one time. He was not. I could tell. Sometimes you can tell when someone comes up and they don't have any intention of actually getting anything. And I could tell, like, as soon as he walked up, that was the vibe. And he started to ask me and one of the girls, like, eventually I understood that he was asking for a pour over, but the way he started asking for it was so odd and vague that, like, it just took so long to actually get there. And he was kind of throwing things at us like, oh, do you use a blah blah blah, like, and I don't I don't know if it's like I couldn't hear him or what. I was just like, what, I'm sorry, what's your question? Like, I was trying so hard to like, understand what he was asking for, but I knew through the whole interaction that it wasn't positive. It wasn't like he was gonna order something. He was just like grilling
yeah,
us.
he like saw your trailer and he's like, "Let's see if this is real coffee." And
Exactly.
that's BS. Also, why would you think that like a coffee trailer is gonna have a pour over?
I don't know,
Like,
dude.
I could see maybe like if it's in a very like specific area or something, but like,
Well, I think Desnudo does this,
yeah, I
but
was
it's like
gonna say
that's Desnudo. Like,
exactly like
they're very
why. And so like the fact that someone's
efficient.
like, "I'm gonna get them," like I'm gonna show them that I know more about coffee, and like
Yeah.
it's such BS like behavior. And that's like the thing is like that I was even saying earlier was, yeah, there are other coffee shops in Austin that are they're great, they're amazing, but I do not go back if I have a poor customer experience. Like I refuse to go back to them if they are rude to me because I'm like, y'all might have incredible coffee, but I don't even give a shit because y'all have shitty little attitudes. There is a specific coffee shop that I went in once and I have not gone back. And then my friend went and she had an insane experience. So awful. They are so rude there. Yeah, I'll tell you about that one later.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyways, but going in, so you're opening a second location.
Yeah.
And you are actually are already open, right?
Yeah.
On South Congress?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
It's not our grand opening.
Has it been like way more just juggling both, or is it kind of like, okay, I know the lay of the land on this first one, so I know what I'm doing with the second one?
Yeah, and I'm realizing it did not. Like, you asked me earlier about like why did I decide to open a second one?
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Well, so the answer, like, I decided to open a second trailer. I remember now I was telling you like never say Justin Bieber. Never say never because I was like I'm never going to open a second trailer because of all the labor, because of all the hard things about it. And all the times I've broken down and just been like I can't do this. I can't do this. Well, I was able to hire in February of this year because our Valentine's menu went super viral and it brought out so many people that I could not handle it by myself.
I kind of remember seeing a post of like, y'all, like it's just me.
It was crazy because people were getting upset. People were coming out from like, far for them, like half an hour. Like I got a couple like 1-star reviews about it and I was just like, oh my God, I can't. And I realized I had to hire. Mm-hmm. So I started to hire. I realized like a lot of people wanted to work at Later Gator, which was awesome. And so I hired the girls like kind of all at the same time, like rather quickly. Yeah, they're pretty much all still here. But I can't remember when it was. It was probably like March, April. I've had the team for a little bit and like things are still going well. We like put out the spring menu and like I'm getting used to, being a boss and
Mm-hmm.
having employees and all those things, payroll, taxes. And I don't know, like, I don't have to say this, but I feel like I want to. I am not rolling in it. I don't have a ton of money coming in. Like, the money that is coming in is going to my girls, and it's going to taxes and it's going to supplies. I am not making money for Jenna.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like also your first year, like people don't realize that, like you're not gonna make money yet. No. Like it's gonna take a minute to.
I personally am more broke than I've ever been in my life. I do have a partner who can support me, so I'm not like, I'm not going to be homeless and I have the things I need and, like I'm okay, but let that be known, like I'm not rich. And I don't know if anyone actually even thinks that, but like I think it is just something you don't really.
I think it's a good thing to like preface in terms of what it's actually like to own, because I think coffee shops can bring in a shit ton of money, but it's also when you're in your first year or second year and you have like loans out for the trailers and all the other things, and then you're also like figuring all of that out. Like I wouldn't have expected to see that.
So I feel like that's important because like it wasn't like I was like, you know what, we're doing so well, and we were in different like senses, but we weren't. I wasn't just like I didn't have just so much money that I was like, you know what, I'll throw it at another location. And in fact, I was like not planning on that. I was actually considering opening a brick and mortar, and that was a more long-term goal. But it was something I was already thinking about, and I do like to. Kind of why I'm doing this. I like to think about things and plan them, and I get really like invested in it. So that was the next plan. But the reason I'm like, never say never is because I did not think I'd have a second trailer. I didn't want it until her name is Emma. Emma owns the Lemon Drop Children's Boutique over on the lawn. Mm-hmm. And she kind of manages the tenants there for the owners of the property. And I love her so much. She's awesome. she reached out to me from the Lawn's Instagram. It's like, hey, like, I don't know if you've ever thought about like putting the trailer somewhere else, but we have a spot over here. And I was like, well, no, but I mean, I have thought about a second location.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me what the rent was, and it was like an amazing deal. And
Wow.
so I knew it was on South Congress, and I was like, hmm. And I was talking to Ethan, and I was like, you know, I've already done this once.
Like, how hard could it be to do it all over again? It was the worst year of my life, so let me do it again.
Exactly. Like, well, what the hell? But because I have the girls, like, I felt so much more capable of something like that. And once again, you know, as soon as I thought I would do it, I'm like, yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Of course. Like, and then a bunch of other little things kind of came together, like, Praxis Coffee Shop. They were selling one of their espresso machines.
Nice.
It's a Slayer, which, like, I did not know anything about this machine. Let me just tell you, I don't know, like, I'm not like a espresso machine expert, but one of the wholesale reps at Greater Goods, she sent me a text. She's like, hey, just in case. Like, she had no idea I was thinking about this. And I was like, well, actually, that's funny because I'm thinking about
You're like, I actually need that. So perfect.
Yeah, and it happened, like, very quickly. And I was like, okay. And so I reached out to Praxis. I'm like, can I buy that? And I got a really great deal on it because it's a really, really nice machine. And so I was like, yeah, we got the machine. Went on Facebook because I'm in the mobile coffee business owners Facebook group. And that has been helpful because that's also how I found the first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately with this business, it is something that people start and then they can't do.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever reason. The person I got this trailer from, she's a mom and like she had some medical bills and it just was not her time yet, which I really hope that she continues with it because she had some really, really awesome ideas. She was going to make it like dog centered and like, name it after her dog, I think. So I hope she gets to do it. But yeah, she had this truck that she was starting to build out and it was an old, I think it was a taco truck. And did not have a bunch of stuff in it, but it had like a fridge and it had she didn't end up giving me selling me the espresso machine because I had bought that other one. And so I had to buy some equipment. But we picked it up in Houston and you know, from there, like I was telling someone, you kind of think like, is it like copy paste? It's not. There are a lot of little things that like you forget that you had to do the first time and you're like God. A lot of things about inspection. So, but yeah, it worked out.
And so now you have your second shop. Yay!
Yep.
That's so exciting. Well, congratulations on that, especially being on South Congress. Like,
it's fun.
Yeah.
We're still figuring, like, it's still not popping yet, you know?
But hopefully, at least hopefully, like, within this next year, by the end, you'll have more revenue for yourself, too.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You're like, that'd be
I'd
great.
like to go on a vacation sometime.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Oh my God. I'm sure you freaking deserve it. Well, if there's anything else that you would like, you know, to kind of share or let the people know where to find you on Instagram or your locations.
So you can find us on 6328 South Highway 183. That is close to the airport. So if you go, you know, you're picking up your friends at the airport, go grab coffee from Later Gator South, and then take your friends over to South Congress and get coffee with them and beignets at Later Gator Soco.
Yes, you also have beignets. Oh my gosh.
Lawn.
I need to come try the beignets. I still haven't tried them.
Oh yeah, they're really good.
Someone posted like, it was like one of their favorite beignets.
That
And I was
was
like,
Rachel.
yes. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to try them. Incredible. Well, thank you. And what is it on Instagram? Later Gator Coffee?
Later Gator Coffee. LaterGatorCoffee.com is our website. Yeah, but we post everything on Instagram, so all updates are there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This was so fun.